We are back. If you just watched that introductory video, then you know why we're here.
Oh, wow.
And we ain't got to do that again. So, it's probably the only time when I've actually talked to the camera. We have a list of topics that we want to talk about. It can start on a camera, but we're planning on possibly even going places and fucking getting a microphone and talking about it just to each other and just letting other people listen. But out of our random pick of topics today, we landed on it's in our DNA. So, Sydney, it's in our DNA. What do you think about that statement?
I think it definitely has, like, obviously a lot of things are in our DNA, but I do think that sometimes people use that to. I do, I do think that people use that to, like, excuse bad behaviour, but also, like, it is true. Like, it is in our DNA. A lot of things, like how our behaviour as much as our physicalities, which I think a lot of people don't take notice of.
So you're saying people use it as an excuse rather than to educate themselves about how we should align ourselves more with nature?
Yeah, like
Marcus Aurelius says.
I think like I think like a lot of things are in our DNA, and that's the thing. It's good to educate yourself on what is in our DNA, like what are we made up of, because a lot of the physical aspects of what we are, it's like the whole nature versus nurture argument. And like we're brought up in a world that is so distant from the one that we were biologically born into, as in the world that we evolved into. Now we have changed so dramatically that like we haven't evolved to live like this. Do you know what I mean? We haven't evolved to be in comfy houses and
That our technological evolution is so much faster than nature's evolution. And how the world's been around so long and humans have been around so long, yet in the past, speaking of actual large changes, last 200 years? Maybe a bit longer, that shit went through the roof.
Yeah, like our DNA has not changed that much, so
Hasn't changed at all.
So we're still built, like, a lot of people speak about anxiety, and like a panic attack is literally your body going into complete overdrive. You get filled with adrenaline, you get pumped with these hormones, your heart starts pumping. Like, people who don't know what a panic attack is think that they're literally having a heart attack. And in the natural world, that would probably only happen if you were like about to get eaten, because it's literally like a survival mechanism to keep you alive and to keep you doolally enough so that your death isn't painful. Whereas now, people have panic attacks about going into the shops. Like, there's no fucking danger. But that it's in our DNA, that mechanism is in our DNA, and because we live such privileged lives, like, some people, a panic attack happens because they feel threatened by something, even if that thing isn't necessarily threatening. Do you know what I mean? Like, that a panic attack is a natural. It is a physical thing. It's not an emotional thing. Your heart physically beats. You get filled with adrenaline. That is a physical thing that happens. But it's not rational for that to happen because you're going into the shops or because you bumped into your ex. Because your ex isn't going to kill you. Well, hopefully.
Yeah, fucking Tinder swindler and all that. But yeah, this is the same thing that we were talking about, like orgasms, how they have a purpose. There's a reason why, especially I feel like it's even better examples with the female, like why a woman has an orgasm. Like, you haven't even got to have one to procreate, but you need it to have that attraction to doing it, so it has a purpose. And that, like, that whole topic just reinforces the idea that we look around at nature and how everything has a purpose, every single thing. But that is also the case inside our bodies. Everything has a purpose. You have nails to fucking, well, back in the day, like, to fucking use as a weapon. You have teeth to eat and chew things up and use as a weapon. You have your eyes so you can see. You have your feet so you can walk. Like, everything has a purpose. Even like your stomach. Your stomach is there to digest food. Your intestines are there to abstract the food into your body. Your brain is there to
Like,
fucking think.
It's so detailed and finite that it is there for a reason. Like, that's the thing with a lot of things. And I think the thing that now is so blurred is how, like, our society, like, not as in like the buildings and the place that we live, but as in like our physical society, as in our relationships with each other and our relationships with ourselves, have developed in a way that doesn't always align with our DNA.
Yeah, and then we will look at our DNA or the consequence of that, say a panic attack, we look at that as something wrong, that the panic attack is wrong, and not so much the thing that's causing the panic attack. Like, we live in such a bizarre world and our body is just not used to it, bruv. Like, evolution happens in such a long period of time.
It takes generations.
Yeah, it doesn't happen in your fucking, like, your granddad to your lifetime. What, they're like 100 years?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't happen in that time. Like, our minds are still wired to be living in a tribe, in a field, and hunting in tribes.
And that's why, like, I think a lot of people speak about, like, the mental health crisis at the moment. Obviously, mental health is something that people speak about so much more now than ever before. But then, like, obviously, partly that's because of social media and people wanting to speak about things. But also, like, a mental health crisis is the truth because we live so far removed from how our DNA wants us to live. Like, we don't go in the sun enough, we don't speak to people enough, we don't make meaningful connections, yet at the same time we've got access to millions of people on our phones, when if you were living in a tribe, which is what our DNA is probably built around, you would never in your life have a million people's opinions on you.
Yeah.
So it's not a shock that celebrities and, you know, and everyone, it's not a shock that everybody has all these mental health issues because we've got so much more access to other people and what other people are up to and what our old school friends are doing. Like, in reality, if you met someone and they left and moved away, you would never see them again. You wouldn't know whether they were dead, alive, blah, blah, blah. You wouldn't know if they were fucking cleaning their Hoover, lived in a mansion.
There's so much fucking shit to cram into your brain nowadays. Your body just can't fucking understand it. Like, it's just weird. Like, for someone that you haven't seen in 10 years, yet you saw on your Facebook feed that their nan died. Like, your brain can't fucking understand that, bruv. It's just, like, so unnatural. And it makes complete sense why you would get a panic attack and shit, because it's not because that you have anxiety and all this bollocks. It's because the society that we live in is not for us, bro. It's for purely making money. And it's purely to create the foundation of making fucking money and improving our quality of life. But that is just, it's just not what it's turned out to be. You're improving the quality of life of a very selected few. We even say it of ourselves, bro, like the whole 1%. Like, we are the 1%, and
yeah, we 100%.
we are literally abstracting, like, exploiting whole countries to improve our quality of life, and it is clearly not what we are born to do.
And the thing is as well is that I do think, like, it's natural to not be happy all the time as well, which I think people also ignore. Like, it is normal that, the thing is that's what I mean, like, millionaires out there, like, we can sit here and we can complain about how cold it is in this house and this and that, and oh, I haven't got all the nice clothes I want, but millionaires out there do have all those things and they still feel,
but they will find something to be annoyed about.
They will find something to be unhappy about, and that's
something.
And part of that is probably like genetic growth. Like, we are supposed to build something, we are supposed to work together, we are supposed to have connections with people, and like, even being unhappy is in our DNA. The feeling of being unhappy is something that
it's there for a reason.
It's there for a reason, and being uncomfortable and being sad and like all of those things happen for a reason. But that doesn't mean that we should, you know, keep on escalating this insane amount of consumerism to try and fill that void. It's not gonna work. And as like an entire culture now, we are all so revolved around money that everybody forgets that it doesn't fucking matter. It actually doesn't matter. You're not helping anyone.
It's like capitalism ain't even that old. Like, as a society, ain't even that old. What is it like? When was money first invented? What, like 300 years ago? Probably a bit more than that.
No idea.
Like, and you got to think how long. Like, there was human civilizations at like 10,000 BC, mate. That's 30,000 years ago.
Yeah.
And all we know now is capitalism.
Mm.
That's all we know now. Is that
Also
you have to go work for someone to get money to buy your food, to buy your home, to feed your kids, and you need to have money to make sure that you're a good parent.
And in reality, all of those physical resources
You
come
could gather
from the
yourself,
world.
bro. You
Come
could gather
from
that
the world.
yourself, and they've almost stopped us from being able to do that.
Yeah, everything is so like in the system now that you can't find a field and build something on it because somebody owns that field and they'll just knock it down, even if they're not using it because fuck you.
They're almost using our DNA against us because we, as a person, you know that you have to work to live. Like in the wild, you know you have to fucking, I don't know, chase that pig in order to kill it, to eat it. Like you have, the chasing is the working. Like, you're still working in the wild, or to fish. Like you have to work, use your brain and your body to catch that fish, or you have to work to build your house for cover so you don't get cold. And like that is naturally in our body. We have a desire
The
to
desire
work,
to work and to gain
like
from doing
for
something.
purpose, because it's in our DNA, and they're almost exploiting us to that fact. Because if you work for someone, let's say you work in fucking TK Maxx, bro, like you're working to live, but that owner or the higher up is also getting a piece of that pie. They're getting a piece of your livelihood, and they're not even doing anything. Like, yeah, they've built a company and everything, but they've built that because they know that they can exploit your DNA in the fact that you are naturally built to work, to purpose to live. They're exploiting that and taking their piece of the pie off of you. So they're almost like, it's like you fishing for food for your family, but you always have to give this person one fish. For what reason, we don't know, but you have to give them one fish. Or like you build a house,
Well,
you have to build a bit of room for them.
It's such a system now that I don't think people who start businesses and people who do that don't think, oh, it's in their DNA to do work for me. It's just the system.
But it's naturally exploited.
Yeah, it's naturally exploited, and it is definitely something that, like, I don't know, like that isn't gonna go anywhere. But at the same time, it's like, well, what can we do about it? Because also, say if all of these rich people were like, oh shit, you're right, I've got fucking loads of money sat in the bank, I'll just go in, give all the poor people a house, and I'll give all of them, I'll pay for all their heating for their life, and I'll pay for all their dinners for their life. Those people aren't gonna be, like, yes, that will solve a lot of problems, and like it would be completely ignorant to say that some people who don't have those things are living horrific lives because of that. But if somebody just came and gave you everything you wanted and everything you needed to live, you would feel so unfulfilled. You would feel so unfulfilled.
You would
That's
still
just the
seek
truth.
for that purpose.
You would still seek, you would still seek a purpose. You would still seek a reason, because that is in our DNA. It's like the right to live, you know? Like everybody wants to feel like they're making a difference, or like they earned what they have. Or not even just earned what they have, but just like they have something to give to the world, something to add to the world. Like that is part of us. And that is just like ambition.
We want to help our people.
Like ambition is in our DNA. And like we're lucky enough like that we can sit there and I can say like, oh, my ambition is to get an education and I want to go to university and I want to get a well-paying job where I know stuff that other people don't know, and I have a talent that people pay me for. But there's people out there where their ambition, the same way that mine is to finish my degree, their ambition is to put food on the table. And the thing is that yes, you can take away that ambition by doing that for them. You can give somebody food and you can put food on their table for the rest of their life, but they will still find ambition. They will find something to do. They will find something that they strive for. The same way that I have. I've had food put on my table my whole life, but I've still been unhappy about things. And like that's what I mean. We are the top 1%, but no matter how high up you get, there will always be things that you all struggle with, but that shows how much we could improve our lives as a society if we did share. If we shared things, like think about all of the millions of people out there that right now all they are thinking about is their next meal, or if their fucking roof is going to leak and if they're going to make it through this winter.
They can't even think a month in advance.
Yeah, they can't even think a month in advance. All they're trying to do is survive. Think about how if we helped people get to the same level that we are, how much more intelligent we could be as a species with, thousands more people that
more
have.
brains, the better.
Yeah, the more brains, the more skills, the more insight, the more different perspectives. Exactly.
Different personal skills. Like,
we could do so much for each other and for the world, but everybody is so built to chase money and objects. Like, it's literally from living in the Western society, that is literally indoctrinated within us. Like, just that, like, how scared are we of not having enough money when we have kids? Like, I literally, that is the biggest fear, and I can't even fathom, like, even staying here, like, we're staying in an apartment at the moment that's his friend's, he's a bit older than us, but, like, even staying here, it's like, oh my god, I could live like this. Like, but I would never even have thought that. Do you know what I mean? I would never have thought, imagine if, like, I could buy my own flat in 5 years. I'd never think that, because I'd think, well, I want to save enough so that I can get a really good mortgage, and then, like, what if I lose my job, like, then I'm going to be absolutely fucked, like, everything's going to be messed up, like, I need to earn loads of money so that I can afford a house. But you don't need to earn loads of money. You don't need to be a millionaire. You can just live. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, we could, it's not unfathomable us living in a place like this. Whereas in my head it seems like everything would go wrong if I spent that much money, because then I wouldn't have it anymore.
This comes into the whole thing. A lot of people can probably see this with all their friends and everything. Like, when you have a fucking person who's worked all hard, I know I could name a few for sure, where their parents have grafted their whole life. I could name 2 off the top of my head from a close friend group, bro, where their parents have grafted their life and really succeeded economically with money. Like, they've got a lot of money. That doesn't mean that they've succeeded in anything else, but you can see that they got a nice house, they got nice cars, they got whatever they want. They got their fucking PS5s and phones when they're like young. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of money, and then the kid always, like, from what I've seen, just end up not doing anything near from what their parents done, as in almost. Like, you would think if you want to provide for your children, right, so you earn all this money to give your kid a good childhood, but then that kid has no drive because they just think it's all just patterned. Like, they haven't got a...
What do you think? Yeah, they think...
They can just act like a baby and not mature because everything's sorted for them. And... I don't know where I was getting at with this.
I don't think that's true for everyone, but I do think maybe it, like, affects how you mature. But I also think, like we were speaking about the other day, our, like, fear of money often holds us back. Like, because I'm so scared that I'm not going to have enough money if something bad happens, I won't take the same risks and I won't have the same life experiences that can be beautiful and prosperous and can give to the world. And, I'm too scared to take those chances because I know that I don't have money. Whereas other people out there who, their parents have got money, like, you can go on to do great things. I just think it's a very different experience. And I think that's why so many people in a similar situation to us, where they have grown up watching their parents not have money, we strive to have money, but we haven't got the education, and I don't understand how to invest. I don't understand how to do these certain things. So then it's like, well, would that stop me from starting my own business, or would that stop me from going and travelling because I'm too scared that if I leave I'll have nothing to come back to, or have no way of coming back. Whereas, like, people in a better financial situation, It's like, oh, okay, yeah, well, I invested half of that money and I spent some of this on a tattoo and I went and got drunk 5 nights in a row. And it's like, well, you're acting a bit like maybe you're not giving anything to society, but they also might go, well, actually, I've had my fun with that and that's fucking boring. Well, maybe I'll go learn more about X thing. And people can give to the world as much. Like, I just think it's a different type of maturity. Like, you remember when we were speaking about how, like, often the education around money is what separates people, is what stops people in the lower income households from ever being in a high income household. Because we're too scared of money to spend it.
Because we just grew up in this ideology that money is everything.
Yeah, so like to us, money is, that's what I mean, we're sat here preaching about how money doesn't mean anything.
But it means everything.
But we're sat here.
Because that's our livelihood.
Yeah, it means, that's like, we're sat here like, oh yeah, we should all just love each other, we should all just look after the planet, and we should all give as much as we can. And we're sat here aware of the fact that we are the 1%, yet because we're the 1% within the society that we've grown up in, we still are controlled by money as much as we don't want to be, because we're too scared to do things in case we don't have any money. But the reality is that we always have food on our table. We are the top 1%. And then it's like, oh, but I've never owned a house. But what does that even mean, bro? Who fucking cares? They're going to take it off you when you die anyway to pay for your bloody healthcare when you're old.
Yeah. And then take fucking 40% of it off the top or whatever. They literally have inheritance tax. Isn't that mad?
Isn't that bullshit?
When you die, the government take a percentage of the money you are giving to your children that you've worked for. You've grafted all your life and you've got however much that when you die, they will sell your house and all your belongings, pile it into an amount.
You already paid tax on that shit as well.
Yeah, you've already paid tax on it all, and they're, oh, he's dead now. We get to take 20% of how much we value all his possessions at, or however much it is. I don't know what the percentage is, but that's a thing. When you die, the government would be like, yeah, we'll take a bit of that.
But that's the exact
Why?
same as like, say you work your whole life for a house, and you've bought your house. Say you've bought your house, finally you've paid your mortgage off, you're fucking 60. You retire 10 years later, and then 5 years after that you start getting really decrepit and you need to move into an old people's home. If you haven't sorted out, if you haven't somehow found a way to sell your house before that, they will simply go, oh, you're a bit old, we're going to send you to a retirement home. But, oh my god, this one owns a house. Sick, we'll take that and we'll use that to pay for your healthcare. But they won't give you any better, they won't put you in a nicer nursing home than what they will put, like my parents don't own their house. Say they get really old, they don't own their house. Well, they're still an old person and they're still alive, so shit, we have to put them in an old people's home. We're not really getting any money off of them because they haven't got any. We'll put them in an old people's home. You're going to go to the same old people's home that those people go to, even though you've given them your house that you've worked your life for.
This is what happened to my nan, bro. So my nan had a house, right? And when she went into an old people's home, the one down in fucking Cosham, like, some of the people there weren't paying anything, but some people were. So, for example, they basically took relatively all of my nan's, like, inheritance or whatever the fuck.
Like
I think that's all bollocks anyway. Like, I don't think you should, like, yeah, you should give your kids a good life, but I don't really think, like, I remember my mate said about that, he was like, oh, I'm just waiting for, like, my inheritance from my granddad.
It's horrible.
Or it was like the money from his granddad or something, because he had like 40 grand for him, and he was like, I'm just like, that's what he was like, we were talking about, he's like, oh yeah, I'm just waiting to get that. And I'm just like, what? If you not got any, like,
it's like a
respect for yourself.
It's like
to
a fucking,
that,
respect for
like,
yourself.
Bro, you're just waiting for a relative to die, or to give you his, I don't know if it was their inheritance, or if it was like the money they had saved for him for when he got to a certain age. But it's like, you're just waiting for them to cough up their
money that they
have saved for you, and that's going to be your, like,
fast track,
bro. Like, but what I was saying with my nan, right, is that they basically took all the money off of, like, her from her house
estate. That's what they call it, an estate. Everything you own, all of your savings, your house, your car, everything.
And it just paid for her to be there, but yet some people there weren't paying anything. Like, and
It's
she was almost
horrible.
basically paying for them as well, because
Well, yeah,
if they're not
that's
paying,
it.
like, someone has to pay for them to be there, and it's coming from somewhere. And like people with money, just got put into the same place.
That's why it shows, like, to a certain extent, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, as much as, that's what I mean, as much as we sit here and panic. But that's the thing is that the reason why it does matter to us is because
It's security, bro.
and because we've watched our parents graft. The reason why money means something is because we've been at breakfast club, we've been at after school club, we've been looked after by our nans, and then we finally get to see our mums who we've missed all day when we were a little kid, and she's fucking shattered and she can't speak to you and she can't read to you and she can't do the things that she wants to do as a mum because she's had to work so that she can feed you. And that's why, so that she's had to have money to feed you. Whereas the thing is that, like, you shouldn't have to do that. You should be able to spend time with your kids the same way that people who have got millions in the bank do. You know? Like, say you've already got your house patterned, you've got fucking shit tons of money and you can just chill at home. But the thing is that people don't even do that because everybody just wants more. But that's what I mean. In the end, we're all gonna die. All of your inheritance is probably gonna go. If you're a normal type of person, yeah, okay, the top 1%, your kids will get a fat fucking inheritance and everything's lovely. But like for normal people, for middle class, working class people, like we will all end up in the same place. We're all gonna end up in the ground. And before that, we're probably all gonna end up in the same old people's home.
Yeah.
And we're all gonna have nothing.
It don't matter if you were earning 100 grand, no matter if you were earning 50 or nothing. Like, you're gonna end up in the same place.
And our kids are gonna be our kids. Like,
yeah,
it's not like you're solving their world problems either.
Yeah, trust. So you haven't got to save all this peas for your kids. Like, as long as you fucking care for them, bruv, and you have enough money to feed them, like, you have to entrust them that they have the ability to do to have the same perspective that you have. In the way of that, they know that they have to work for what they want to get. Like, I don't think you should bring your kid into the world and don't have any shadow of a doubt in their mind that they haven't got to work, they haven't got to fucking graft to live. Like, you do have to work to be alive. Like I said, in the wild, like, if you wanted to eat, unless you were like a toddler, you had to chase after that pig and beat it. You had to win the pig, bro. You had to take its life from him.
That's the thing, is like the reason why a lot of us have such a fucked up perspective of money is because, like, it's in our DNA to work. So working is a thing that we have to do. But also, say, like, for your mum, for example, like, it was at that time, it was in her DNA to be a mum and to be a mother and to be there for her kids
to give the best life for
and
her
to
child.
give the best life for her child. But because she didn't have money, like, instead of being a mum who got to read to you and teach you and spend quality time with you and, you know, tell you how to be a good man, like, help you grow up, to be there holding your hand, help you grow up, she had to go and work to feed you. Because if she was being a mother, then you wouldn't have had any food, you wouldn't have had a house, you wouldn't have had any clothes to wear to school, you wouldn't have had any way to go to school because she wouldn't have a car, or she wouldn't even be able to pay for the fucking bus to get you to school. So it's like, the system, in some ways, it exploits our DNA, whereas in other ways, it directly goes against it. Like, everything like that. And that's the same as, like maternity pay. Like, maternity pay is absolutely fucked. And the way that we view maternity as a thing in the payment world, in the working world, is just like, bruv, like, in reality, you need to be with your kid 24/7. In the wild, how long do you think mums carry around their kids or keep their kids literally by their side? Because they want to protect them, they want to teach them,
it's
they need
until
to
they're
show
like a
them
teenager
things.
and they decide they want to leave.
Whereas instead, we are forced into this world where we go and give our kids away, and it's, oh, on Tuesday nights you're at Nan's, on Wednesday nights you're around your dad's, on Friday nights you go into daycare. Do you know what I mean? It's like, that's not normal. In the natural world, you would be able to spend time with your kid and actually enjoy that and help them. Whereas instead it's like, oh yeah, well, we'll give you like a month for full pay and then, like, that's it. I don't know how much maternity pay is at the moment. Mum's pregnant ages ago. But, like, it's fucked, man. To spend time with your kid, you literally have to just not get paid. Which then it's like, okay, yeah, well now I'm spending time with my kid, but I can't do anything with them. I can't, I can't feed them. I can't feed myself to breastfeed them. It's just weird, and that's like, but our DNA is affected in a lot of these things, but like, you can't use that as an excuse either. Like, we are in the society that we are in, and we should research our DNA so that we have an awareness of why we have panic attacks. Like, it's good to know that. It's good to know. I have had this panic attack for a reason. It's not invalid. I'm not stupid. I'm not overreacting. My body is not used to the life that I'm living right now. My body is not built for this. That's why I reacted in that way, and now I know that I can change my perspective on it, and I cannot be scared of it, and I cannot make that worse. Because if you're scared of having a panic attack, all you're doing is fucking wandering around thinking about, oh my god, what if I have a panic attack? Like, it's gonna happen. The same way that, like, learning about our DNA can teach us things, but it also doesn't excuse the fact that you can't just be like, oh, well, we have orgasms because we're supposed to have sex, so I'm gonna have sex with everyone all the time. Because it's like, well, that's not...
This is another talk about DNA, and it is all about procreating and sex. So, to paint a picture, like, in the wild, right?
Yeah.
You have, it's different, for different animals it's different. Like, some animals just have a couple and then it's just forever, whereas some, there's a pack of females and one male. I don't exactly know what humans would fall into in the wild.
Should we try and put it up? I will want to know.
Yeah, like, look at at chimps.
No, just say, are Homo sapiens, like, supposed to be monogamous? I feel like that's where this is going. I'm fucking freezing, bro.
There was no definitive answer to whether humans are naturally monogamous. However, there are evidence that humans are biologically inclined towards monogamy, but also have tendency to have sex outside of relationships.
So
Explanation. Monogamy is not the norm at all for all primates. While humans are monogamous, other primates like chimps and baboons are not. Okay.
So we have a natural tendency to be drawn towards monogamy.
I don't know. I don't think that's true.
No, but we also have sex outside of that a lot of the time.
Yeah, but I think they're just right. They're just reflecting just the society that we live in. Like, they said there's no evidence that we were monogamous, but yeah, it says that chimps and baboons are not monogamous, and you could definitely say that we're very close to monkeys.
Okay, well, say your point as if that then.
Okay.
I'll entertain the fact that humans are not. We'll say for the purpose of this conversation that humans are not biologically monogamous.
So again, just getting back to painting the picture, take chimps for example. They are not monogamous, so you will have one alpha chimp. Same with gorillas. I know it's with gorillas. This is the same thing.
Yeah, but it might not even be one. It might just be there's many males within the pack.
Yeah, there's always many males, but there's one alpha male.
Yeah, but the other males obviously still sleep with them, the girls.
No, they don't.
What, so you think that it's naturally within our DNA that the weaker men do not have sex?
Well, nowhere near as much as what the alpha would, because the alpha has the best genes. They are the strongest, the smartest, and they have the best genetics. So you would naturally want to breed with them, because they are
Yeah, I guess like it's in that's
they
what
will make
attraction
a strong
is,
baby, and they are a good protector of that family or of that child.
I have something else that links to this. Yeah.
It's fine. We just got to talk about topic.
Mm.
So that is, and all it is in hierarchies like that. You have the alpha, you have the females, and then you have the younger males. The younger males simply wait until that alpha male is ill, gets injured, and then they all just, because taking for example, that is either smarter in the way they don't want to attack him, or he is stronger so they don't want to attack him. There's obviously a reason. It hasn't always got to be physical advantage. they wait for whatever reason it may be, and they will team up on him and they will kill him, and then one of them will then become the alpha chimp, alpha gorilla, and then that will be the breeder. And people say that, like, you know, when you have like, I don't know where I saw this from. Let me research this quickly about how natural tendencies for sexual relationships in comparison to males and females. What are
Well, like I'm pretty sure after sex, females have the what's it called, like a hormone that makes us more naturally inclined to stick with that one person. Like it makes us feel love, essentially. Like for us, I think it has more of an attachment. If I'm seeing the same thing, what does it actually say?
based on research? Yes, women generally tend to feel more attached to men after sex compared to men. Feeling attracted to a woman, primarily due to the higher levels of oxytocin, often called the love hormone, released by women during sexual activity, leading to a stronger sense of bonding and intimacy. So basically saying when you have sex as a female, you release more oxytocin. You release more oxytocin, or you release it and men don't. So you naturally, in your DNA, are more attached to that man in comparison that the man is attached to the woman. And that is almost reflecting the idea that there is meant to be one man and multiple females.
Did it not say anything about the man having any sort of hormones released during?
Well, there'll obviously
be like testosterone.
There will be chemicals released, but I just googled, are women more attracted to men after sex in comparison to men? And it just says here, key points about this difference: oxytocin levels. Women naturally produce more oxytocin than men, which contributes to a greater feeling of closeness and attachment after sex.
Oh, so you probably release some oxytocin, just not as much.
There's not as much. And then you have evolutionary perspective. This difference can be explained by the evolutionary need for women to form strong bonds with partners to ensure the protection and care of offspring.
Of a child, yeah.
Individual variations. While this is the general trend, individual experiences can vary significantly based on personal attachment styles and relationship dynamics. So that's a bit less within DNA, that's more nurture. But that is in our DNA that women release more oxytocin than men, which is that attachment hormone, which reinforces that idea about having one man and multiple females.
So does that mean that you disagree with monogamy?
This is what I was getting to, because earlier you said about people having excuses.
Because I do think that a lot of the time, particularly men who find out that information, who do research on their DNA or who just happen to come across that, use that as either an excuse for cheating or just an excuse for going around and sleeping with people, which I think can be fine, but I also think a lot of the time it's like, well, you are simply a lot of the time using people, a lot of the time like you are hurting other people's feelings whilst wandering around being like, oh, I'm just an alpha male, it's in my DNA. But I also think there's a place for it's like you can do that out in a nice way. You can do that in an open and honest way. But that's why I think a lot of the time in certain situations I can imagine the whole DNA thing only comes up when somebody is putting across a negative point, like, of why you shouldn't be sleeping with a lot of people. Do you know what I mean?
This is exactly what I was about to round it off with. So I was just painting the picture of what we are like in our nature. And what I was getting to is because before we finished that, you were saying about how, like, excuses and people think it's okay to do these things which aren't beneficial to other people because of this reason. And this is basically is that it is important to understand that and respect that knowledge and perspective, because it is true. Like, there is a natural tendency for women to have an attachment to a singular person and not so much with men, but in the way we live monogamy is the normal, and that is completely understandable because it's not all about our DNA at the end of the day. Like we keep on saying about how with the world we live in, it's not normal in our DNA and everything, but it's not all about that. But it's important to understand it. It's like saying with the panic attacks, you're not meant to like, oh, I'm getting panic attacks for living in this world, so we need to destroy this world. I need to leave and go live in the sticks and live in a hut. That is what I'm going to do to stop having panic attacks.
Yeah, to stop having panic attacks, I'm going to leave society.
But simply understanding the fact, thinking about it, finding out what is important to you and what can benefit your outlook on life. Because after all, life is simply about how you look at it.
Yeah.
Like, all you touch and all you see. That is what your life is, and it is important to understand these factors in order to shift your mentality in a way that I know this is true, I know that is also true, but this is still right.
I'm going to make a choice.
I'm going to make a choice, but a choice that I make is not going to degrade other individuals, it is not going to take advantage of other people, and it is not going to ruin other people's quality of life.
Yeah.
And also, it's not going to ruin my quality of life. Because going around sleeping with loads of people, like, in my idea anyway, I can't see how that is good for your quality of life. Like, I can't really understand that. Especially if you're not like if you had, fucking 5 wives and you're having kids with them all and you're caring for them all, like, yeah, that's, I guess, where that purpose comes from. Like, that is going from being theoretical to practical. Like, that would be the only way
if you were to conform to your DNA, as we've just found out is natural, it would be you have 5 or 6 wives or fucking 20 or 2, I don't know. You have multiple wives and you have kids with them all and you help them look after them all. Yeah. Whereas in reality, I think that's the thing that's missing from so many people who use the argument of DNA when it comes to monogamy. Is it's like, well, if you're going to use the argument of DNA and sit there and say it's natural, then go along and have babies with 7 girls, and then you look after those girls and you look after their kids.
Yeah.
And then you tell me how fun it is going around sleeping with loads of people.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we can sit here and chat about monogamy. Because if that's what you want, then that's calm. And if you're going to be open with people, and if you're going to be aware with people, but the reality of the thing is that as much as we can sit here and we can say all these bad things about society, everything has happened for a reason, not always the right reason, but it's, looking at the information you're giving and making a choice about that and actually hearing what you're saying. Because I think, like you said, like you've put across argument, but you've also taken note of the fact that if that's in our natural DNA, and if I'm going to sit here and say, yes, that is 100% what I'm going to do because it's in my DNA, then you also need to deal with what comes out of that. Like, sleeping with multiple people also means having babies with multiple people.
It's not that whole idea, that whole fact is not a reason to think, oh yeah, I'm just going to go on Tinder and fucking shag bare birds and say whatever I can to get in their pants. Because that's what people do. They'll just fucking string the longest line they can just to fucking have a go. But it's like, that is not your DNA. That is
your choice.
That is your instant gratification. That is your addiction to
sex or whatever.
Yeah, that is an addiction. That is not conforming to your DNA. That is giving in to your natural urges to fuck everything at no cost whatsoever. Your pure goal is just to get a fucking nut, bro. Because you're addicted to that feeling, because whatever it may be.
Because it makes you feel happy.
But that's not in your DNA. That's not what that... Yes, of course, that DNA contributes to that.
Yeah, you feel gratification for a reason.
Yeah.
But that is not you fulfilling the reason, and that is not you conforming to your DNA.
And people will say, and it is true, that a very small part or part of that drive to sleep with other people is because of that DNA.
It is.
But it is not an excuse to do it.
Yeah.
It's not a reason. It's just a factor that may contribute to such an urge, but doesn't mean you should give in to such a thing.
Especially because if you giving into the urge, that is in your DNA to give into the urge to have sex. Okay,
because you're getting that urge for a reason.
Yeah, you're getting that urge for a reason, but also you are not fulfilling the reason. Maybe that urge would go away if you went and had a kid with one of these girls on fucking Tinder, and then I've got a kid on the way. Maybe that urge would go away. Maybe you'd start thinking more about who the fuck you're sleeping with.
And not just blindly fucking putting a dick in
and how you're using them.
just people use that as an excuse, and it's not an excuse, but
It's something to
it is
understand.
something again, yeah, it's something to understand and reflect upon, but it is not a driving force to your addictions and your fucking foul mind, bro.
Yeah. Like also say if you are constantly sat there, you're constantly thinking about sex, or it's all that consumes you, and you constantly want to sleep with people, that's all you're thinking about. Like that, it's good to know about your DNA, to understand that, and to think, why the fuck am I thinking this? Why am I constantly wanting to sleep with people, and why is it making me feel like shit? Because you knowing about your DNA will help you understand that those things are natural, those feelings are natural, they happen for a reason. Like, it's just a way of thinking. Like, I think looking into your DNA should be something that, instead of going, oh, this is why this happens, instead it should be like, oh, I've learnt about my DNA, and actually everybody feels like this.
Yeah.
Everybody feels like this at some point, and it is because we've changed our way of life so quickly. Do I want to conform to that, or do I not? What can I do about it? Don't just sit there and blindly running around swinging your dick and fucking crying at everything, being like, oh my god, my life's so shit, oh my god, I just want to fuck everything, that's what I'm here to do, oh my god, everything's so bad. Or, you know, like, you can't just chase these things.
The society that we live in now is not, like, we no longer live in a field and hunt animals and sleep in a hut. We don't do that anymore.
So we need to make choices about it.
Yeah,
with
like
what we have.
an animal thinks about fucking one of three things, or maybe more. Being warm, like not being cold, eating, and fucking. Well, sleeping, eating, and fucking.
Yeah.
That is the three factors that any animal that we know of only thinks about. Yeah, everything comes from them three factors.
Does that to live.
Every action is because of them three factors. Whereas now, yes, you can argue that we all still conform to that, which we do. You get money to live, and to sleep and to eat, and you want to fuck people because you want to have babies. Like, there's a reason why you get an orgasm, is because nature wants you to breed.
Yeah. It wants life to continue.
Yeah. And this is what's so fucked up about porn, for example, is that you'll have a wank, right? And your brain is like, I've just done the fucking thing that I'm born to do, mate. Like, I was born to have, like, this is my purpose on this earth. Like, sleeping and eating is just to keep you alive. Your main thing is to have babies. And having a wank, you're just like, I've just done the one thing I was put on this earth to do.
Yeah.
And that's why you get all fucking, you just want to lie down, or you get fucking, you relax. Because your mind's like, good job, mate. You just done what I put you here to do. Chill out.
Good job, bro.
Do you know what I mean? And it's almost as if, is that why people are addicted to sex? Because your body, like you say, our evolution, human and like animal evolution, is nowhere near as fast as our technology and the thing we have access to. And Tinder is a prime example. You can fucking swipe right on someone, they can match with you. You could text them that same day saying you want to fuck, and they'll be like, yeah, and that's it. And then just from that, you're after that sex, your brain will go, good job, mate. You done what you were here to do. Even if you're not having, even if you're not having having a kid with them, you're just fucking them, like whatever. Like, your brain is like,
you've done
fucking,
that action,
you've done that, mate.
you've felt that feeling.
Yeah. It gives you a pat on the back, and it's like, good job. And is that what people are addicted to? Because in a DNA perspective, that is our purpose, to breed.
I think that's why, especially in a place of addiction, be that to anything, be that addiction to sex, addiction to food, addiction to drugs, addiction in any form, I think that's why, especially within the conversation of addiction, it's important to speak about our DNA, because, like we said, those things happen for a reason, be that chemical, be that physical, be that it's in our DNA that's happening. So knowing that doesn't mean that we can just move on and go, oh, okay, sweet, calm, good job, brain, thank you, body, you've served me by letting me know what I need to do. It's like, we can't use that as a reason to sit here and ignore society, because we have built this society, we live in it, we've grown in it, and whatever
it has shaped this way for a reason.
Also, whatever society the fuck you're in, you have an awareness of it. You have a phone, you have a TV, you have a voice, you have a brain, you have mates. you speak to people and you live in the life that you live. So you can't sit here and go, oh well, was it cavemen? Because we've got more intelligent, we've got more information, we live the way that we live. So be aware of that when you make these decisions. Like, go, right, I'm addicted to sex, what the fuck? And wake yourself up and sit there and be like, why am I addicted to this? Oh, it's because of my DNA. Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? Do I want to carry on acting like this? You know, like, actually be conscious. Because people out there are in open relationships and they have both sides. They have monogamy, in a sense, they have a relationship, whilst in the same time they're able to sleep with other people freely without having kids, which, yes, is in some ways not our DNA, some ways is, but they've chosen to make that decision and they make it work. People make it work. So if you think that you can't, there are ways that you can not hurt people's feelings and not accidentally get people pregnant and, you know, not just fucking say whatever you can just to get your dick
just
up.
to get in their pants.
Yeah. And I think that's, like, what we need to not ignore. It's the same with everything. It's the same with food. Like, we all find ourselves drifting to the cupboard at night, but that's because, like, well, I'm sad, I've had a shit day, I really want some food because food will cheer me up. But you feel happy after eating because that's what you need to live.
Yeah, and your brain's like, well done, you've eaten.
Yeah, and in the natural world, you might not have as much accessibility to food. Yeah. But if you sit there and go, oh, I just love myself, I've really done what I need to do being on this earth by eating that packet of digestive biscuits, then what the fuck, bruv? Like,
it's the same with sleeping. That's why I don't want to get up in the morning, because it's like your brain is like, this is fucking heaven, mate. Like, this is heaven. You are comfy, so you're getting the best sleep you can. You are just chilling, mate. Like, you're not hungry. Like, you're not fucking, I don't know, like in the massive drive. You're not head over heels to go breed with someone. Like, you're just fucking chilling. And
sorry.
But at the same time, our purpose, as Marcus Aurelius says, is to not be in that bed. You're not put on this earth to lie in that bed. And that, in the sense of itself, you're going against your DNA.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. It's just it. That's what I mean. It's your DNA. You weren't put here just to do.
Yeah, like, if you actually think about it, the only reason you'd ever get out of your bed, if you look at it in that sleep, eat, fuck, like as you would in nature, the only reason why you'd get out of bed is to eat, to have sex, or to defend the people that you're having sex with. That is the only reasons why you'd ever get out of bed. Yet we get out of bed for so many more reasons, like going surfing in the morning. That is not a natural thing. To go and do something just for the pure fucking fun of it. Which it is, yeah, because animals play, animals do these fucking things just because it's fun.
I also think it's to be noted that, like, it's true that in that time of when we were living in tribes and when we were doing this and doing that, and in caves hunting fucking wild animals, yes, we would never get out of bed to do those things, because why the fuck would we? If you're in a comfy bed and you're in a comfy sleep, that's insane.
Yeah, and you're not hungry.
But it's also to be noted that how often would that be the case? Never. That would never be the case. When the fuck in the night? If you're a caveman, sleeping in a cave, you're never comfortable.
Yeah.
Really, and not that comfortable. Not fucking double bed heated blanket comfortable.
We've got a heated blanket, bro.
We've got a heated blanket.
And we're in a heated house.
It's blown our minds. Heated blankets fucking changed the game, guys.
Bro.
Get a heated blanket.
Yeah, fuck a big duvet, mate. Wearing 2 double duvet, you're out. Fuck that. No more double duvets. Get a heated blanket.
Get a heated blanket.
It's the bollocks.
Fucking double duvet.
Hot water bottle, fucking lovely.
Cup of tea.
Just boil all the water in this little machine. It's just like, look, now you got boiling water.
But that's what I mean. Like, the reason, like, you know, a caveman would never get out of bed to do those 3 things if he had a bed like that.
Yeah.
But the
Unless
thing is he
hungry
didn't.
or...
Bro had water dripping on his head. He had noise going on all the time. He was never as comfortable as what we are now.
So your brain just goes crazy about it.
But that's the thing, is you should know that, and you should go, instead of going, right, it's in my DNA to never get out of bed except to do these 3 things, you should go, well, it's in my DNA to never do those 3 things, but it's also in my DNA to sleep in a cave, and I've chosen to sleep in a comfy bed tonight.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take that privilege and act accordingly.
Yeah.
And I'm going to choose to get out of bed instead of being forced to by being rained on or fucking screamed at or bear come to eat me.
Yeah, being
Like-
forced out because you're late to fucking go to work to eat your food or whatever. Like when you wake up in the morning, you have, like, your brain obviously wants to stay in that bed because it's heaven, and at that direct time when you wake up in the morning, you're not starving hungry, or you're not fucking have a drive to breed with someone. Like, it doesn't come up all the time. Like, it's like, so obviously you want to get up in the morning. Like,
Yeah.
obviously you don't, but
And that's what I mean. It's knowing that
you
and
have-
going.
yeah,
I don't want to get out of bed in the morning. It's not because I'm a shit person. It's not because I'm lazy. It's not because of this. It's not
or
because
because
of that.
you're tired or whatever.
Yeah, it's not because I'm tired. It's because of my DNA.
Yeah, your brain doesn't want to get up.
And
You don't
knowing
wanna do
that
it.
is going, actually, am I going to give into my DNA or not?
Yeah.
Yes or no? Am I going to skip work today and fucking sit in bed and do fuck all? No. Why the fuck would I do that? I've just had the best night's sleep I ever could have genetically.
Yeah,
And I'm just about to go and do something.
that is literally the
It's what
pinnacle
you're
of
put
sleep.
here to be.
That is the pinnacle.
Yes, banging.
Warm, comfy bed, waking up to natural light.
Warm house.
Like,
Well, yeah, to be fair, we don't normally have natural light either.
no, I have my bulb, which, like, if you wake up to light, it's way better than noise because it's natural. It's still a fucking light, electric powered bulb,
Mm.
but it is still way more better for you to wake up to light than to noise. So if you can, like, get like a bulb, you can
That
get
you can
the
turn
one I
on.
think is like a Philips bulb that I got from B&Q. You can connect to your phone, and you at 7, 6, 5 in the morning, you can just wake up to light.
But also be aware that although that is in our DNA, if you're anything like me, a light bulb is not going to fucking get you up in the
Yeah, you
morning.
need an
because
alarm to wake
I
up.
would never,
Yeah,
ever
but,
wake
like,
up to that.
To me, I always wake up ready to go when I have a bulb come up in the morning. Like, only today was an example which it failed. So I have an alarm. Today I got up at like 6:30. So I had an alarm go off at 6:30, and then the light turns off at 6:30. And I'll wait there for like 5 minutes, and I won't close my eyes. And your brain is naturally, again, using your DNA. It's daylight. Get the fuck up, bruv. Go find your food. Go breed. Go fucking do what you were put on this earth to do. And if you ever look in the wild, apart from nocturnal animals, they do the exact same, but when the moon's up rather than the sun. You look out the window, mate, and everything's fucking up. The bees are buzzing, the birds are fucking flying, the rabbits are hopping around, everything is
Yeah,
out
they also, to
doing
them,
its fucking job, mate.
to them, they've got comfy beds too, and they still got up.
Yeah, because they know that they have to get up to do these things, and so do we. And yes, it's difficult because where we have like a lot of time, you're not getting up to sunlight or whatever, but it's
It's learning, yeah, like we keep coming back to it, it's learning about your DNA and trying to play your cards right and to
Yeah.
use that to your
using it
benefit.
to your advantage and not letting it be your fucking arch nemesis, bro.
Your downfall, because we can sit here and we can preach about how fucked our society is because none of us go outside enough and you know, none of us have enough human contact and all the bad things in society that have separated us from our natural roots of protecting the earth and being together and being one and you know, fucking all this shit and we don't get to fuck as much or whatever. Like, we can sit here and we can preach about how society is against all those things, or we can actually just go, well, I know about my fucking DNA and I'm going to choose what I do with it. I'm going to use that, use the knowledge that I have, use the fact that I wake up to sunlight to my benefit, use the fact that sex makes me feel tired to choose a good person to have sex with and to fucking do it when I want to do it. With someone who fucking likes me, someone who I can chill with.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, you can use your DNA to your advantage so much more than what people think. Like, even if monogamy isn't a real thing, like, think about society in the way of like, okay, so as a human, we are a social animal. We want to be close to other people.
You want a tribe.
We want to share our ideas. We want a tribe. But the same way that we want a tribe, we also, like, you know, we like crave, as much as you may not get as much of that fucking hormone as I do, like, you want to be close to people.
Yeah,
And
you
you
wanna
are a
have a tribe.
person that I'm close with. But
Mm.
also, you're a person that I'm close with that if I go, kind of want to have sex, then you can in a safe way that's not
Yeah.
damaging anyone, that's not, you're not out here just having meaningless relationships and then coming back and questioning everything. Do you
Yeah.
know what I mean?
No, 100%. This is the final topic. of the ideas
DNA.
that spin to mind of DNA currently, and this is something that was originally introduced on a Joe Rogan podcast.
Oh,
Fuck
no.
yeah. The tribe mentality, bro. Right. Tribe mentality is basically that we naturally have a tendency to have a tribe.
Yeah.
Valid. We also have a tendency to hate a tribe. We have a tendency to be against a form of being or whatever it may be, to have an enemy. People naturally want to have an enemy in the sense of, take the Native Americans, right? Before Christopher Columbus and all the fucking United Kingdom dons went over there and pillaged them all, it was like this. They would all have tribes. They would all have, everyone has their tribe, right? And take this for example, you have your tribe and you're hungry. And you look over, you climb up a hill, you look over there and you see a little campfire and you see another tribe with bare food.
You fucking hate them.
Bare food. What are you going to do?
Go and steal their food, bro.
Yeah, you're not just going to steal it, are you?
Well, I'm gonna fight you to get your fucking food.
You're
bruv,
gonna
because
kill
I
them.
Need your
You're going to kill them, you're going to massacre them to take their food.
Well, you might not massacre them. You just go against them.
Yeah, but they're not going to give
Yeah,
over.
but may
They're
the-
going to fight you and
yeah,
you're going
but-
to fight them and someone's got to die.
May the best tribe win.
Yeah. So you're going to have to do, like, back then, say of anything, food is everything. Food
Yeah.
Food was the commodity. So you're going to fight to the death for your food because if you ain't got that food, you might not be alive next week because you haven't got food. So it's simple that they will fight, they will kill each other for it.
Yeah.
And that tribe will massacre that tribe when they seem fit, whether that's at night or whatever, they will kill them to get that food. So this is basically talking about how whenever you see someone else with something better than you, which 9 times out of 10, the way we look at people, you think that they have something better than you and you will naturally hate them. You look at a rich person, you look at someone who's
Pretty gorgeous.
who's pretty, who's sleeping with loads of women, who is putting on a facade that they're living a good life.
Yeah.
There is, no matter who you are, no matter how happy you are within yourself,
You might have a bit of jealousy.
like you will have a sort of jealousy against
and
them.
and like I said, jealousy is just in our DNA.
Yeah, and that
Happens
jealousy
for a reason.
comes back to that tribe mentality of that you want to kill them to obtain what they have. Because whether it's, well, in that case it has to be tangible, because when you kill someone you can't gain intangible like things from them. But what I'm saying is that our tribe mentality in an overview is the lead thing of what holds us back from ever developing further than we are now.
That is true. Like,
That it will,
we
we will never
constantly
get
want to
past.
be the best. We don't want to share and come to an agreement. We want
We want
to
warfare.
win.
We
to
want
win.
we want to win against other people,
But-
and the only people that you see that you deem as competition is your fellow man. And
Yeah, you never.
this
look
is
at
the whole
animals and go,
thing
"Rah."
with fucking Republic and Democrats or Labour and Tory. Like, people want tribes. They want, same with football clubs.
Yeah.
Portsmouth and Southampton football clubs, mate. They fucking hate each other. Why? Because one person supports a football team and the other person supports the other. And that means that they will have fucking
They will
fights.
actually fight.
They
Have
will
physical
fight
fights
over it.
over football. I can't fathom
And
it,
it's
bro.
like, that's their whole
So
thing.
stupid.
Because that's their tribe. And they deem that other tribe as a threat. So they are gonna hate that tribe and ultimately fight against that tribe because they deem it as a threat. And that corresponds to the having the food. They have the food, and yeah, that is more so jealousy, but it's a problem. They have something that you don't have, or they are imposing something against you. It's a problem. And people love to have that idea
So
because
you
it's
wanna go
in our
against each
DNA.
other.
We want to have a tribe and we want to hate something. We want to be against something. Labour Party always hate the Tories. They both hate the Green Party. And it's like, but you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
everyone hates someone. And
Yeah, and we'll like each other to go against our common enemy, and then we'll go back to hating each other again because I actually think you lot are
yeah,
wankers.
it was
it's
like,
just the
what
reality.
was the fucking time when everyone just came together? What fucking happened? What was it?
No idea what you're about, bro. Some war or something.
I completely forgot. But it was something more local based, like football or something. I forgot what it was, but it was like, I don't know. But another cool example. They ran a test on about someone who supported a football club. What are the chances of you helping someone if they're wearing supportive gear of another football club? And there was actually a statistic that you're less likely to help someone if they support a different football club to you, because they're in a different tribe, so they are imposing a threat upon you, and
and your brain automatically goes
thinks against them.
I don't relate to this person, I don't like this person,
and the only reason why we have tribes within our fellow men is because that is the only competition, because there's a face to the person. Whereas we can't all come together and say the government's corrupt. Like, let's all come together and get rid of the government. You never see the government. The government is just a word. You never see the government. There's no face to the government.
Yeah, but even that
there is no competition to be had.
But even that is a form of tribalism.
Like, of course it is.
100% it is. People out there will just be like, oh, I don't really know who to hate. I guess I'll hate the leaders of everything I have.
Yeah.
But also, there are reasons why that's valid, not to sway either way. But like, I do agree that tribalism 100% is something that's natural within us, and also it leads to growth. Like you said, it's tribalism is a survival technique. It is survival to not like people for certain reasons, and to literally go against groups of people. That is survival, or at least it was survival. But I think that now, knowing what we know and being as intelligent as what we are, that doesn't mean that tribalism is okay, and we used to have spears and knives and run at them at night, but now we have fucking bombs and aeroplanes and atomic
remote control
weapons.
Drones that fucking shoot people and bomb
drones,
places.
And that group of people there, they have a bunch of oil that we want, and they're not giving it to us, so we're just gonna go and kill them all. Because it's like that, for starters, is purely not fair. And also, all we are going to do with that oil is bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. We're going to sell it for money because, oh my god, it makes our country better. But it's like, it's not in our DNA to kill hundreds and thousands of other people that you've never had to look at. That is not in our DNA. And that's why it seems so okay. Because it's like, oh, tribalism. Oh, we're protecting. We're trying to grow our country. We're trying to fucking make America great again. So we're going to go and do this thing that's getting us loads of money. I guess we have to kill people, but like we're gonna get loads of money.
We're gonna cause a genocide in Indonesia.
We're gonna be filled with prosperity. But that, yes, okay, that may bring America prosperity, but you are
the demise to hundreds of countries.
You never have to look at them. Tell me what is fucking genetic about that, about killing someone without ever having to see them, without ever having to put the knife in their fucking body. That is so against our DNA, and that's why we can all delude ourselves into thinking that these things, well, not we all, but like that's why a lot of the people in power, a lot of the people who start these wars can delude ourselves, because we haven't had this technology, so we physically have not evolved to comprehend what this technology does. We can't understand that when we press this button and that fucking aeroplane goes over there and bombs 20,000 people, we can't comprehend that that is 20,000 human lives that we have killed, because all you've done is press a button. You haven't put any of the work in. You've done fuck all. And our brains can't work with that technology. Our DNA doesn't understand that. So as much as tribalism is a thing, and as much as humans we are always going to form groups and we are always going to hate each other, but we also need to understand that within that there are so many things that are unnatural now, so we should not use those unnatural and extensive forms of defence and offence, because that is just using your DNA to do bad things, to as an excuse. That is using the idea of tribalism as a reason for hurting people beyond your fathomable understanding.
On a more local scale, that scale is completely another reason why we hinder ourselves to ever developing into a true what's the word for like a perfect place?
Like
a utopia.
Paradise, utopia.
Like,
utopia.
This is the quote where it's like, if we ever created a heaven or a utopia or a paradise, the first thing we would do is rip the whole fucking thing down.
Yeah.
That's the first thing we do, bruv, because we simply are driven upon this tribalism, and we're so used to hating one another that it simply can never be cured, and it is.
Yeah,
like,
but I
this
think,
is the
I
part
think
of.
that saying that it can never be cured isn't. We can't do that. We can't sit here and just say.
If everyone was educated on the manner that tribalism is a DNA factor, and actually looked at their actions in that way as, oh, I'm supporting Portsmouth and hate Southampton because of the natural DNA tribalism inside of me, they can then learn from it. And it's ultimately the only way that you would solve such a problem is by educating everyone to realise that. And if everyone knew that factor, you could then go on to develop something that truly is beautiful. But until we reach that point, that will never, no matter the technology we get, no matter the life expectancy we develop, that will never get to that stage. And more so on the fact that we can never, take UK for example, we can never really prosper as a country if we are constantly fighting with Labour Party and Tory Party and all that bollocks, because we are constantly fighting against our fellow people. Whereas if everyone just came together, there was one party, and we were just like, we just want what's best for us. And it is true that you can't please everyone. You can't please the poor and the rich at the same time. It is not physically possible, because the only ways to get rich is basically by fucking pure luck, doing what you really love and actually benefiting the world, or exploiting the poor. 9 times out of 10 is exploiting the poor. That is how you become rich. It is deluding people. It is persuading people.
If you tell all the rich
taking
that they
advantage
can't do that,
of
they're gonna be pissed
their
off.
dreams and selling them dreams, and that is the main way that you exploit people and make money. Like that is the main factor of making money, and you simply cannot please the poor and the rich when one is exploiting the other. It is not. It can't happen, and that is. And only when we understand that we are a tribe in ourselves, and we need to distribute this money, and we need to really think, right, at the end of the day, we are as powerful as our weakest link. How can we expect as a country to go to war and all of our people to be willing to die for our country if you can't even
half of them like shit?
If you treat half of them, 90% of them like shit, and fucking you can't even tarmac the road properly, you can't even educate our children properly, you can't even let your kids go outside without the fear of them being kidnapped by a paedophile. You can't expect to uphold this society with the idea that everyone truly believes in us. And you simply cannot, we can't expect to grow as a tribe, because truly the whole fucking human and civilization should be a tribe, but that won't happen. But the best place where you can start is getting every country as a tribe, and that's how it used to be. Like that's what it used to be like when everyone was kind of on the same page. From what I know, when the world wars happened, everyone was on the same fucking page.
It's easy to say that, but the reason why everyone was on the same page is exactly what I said earlier. The reason why everyone was on the same page and they weren't fighting within themselves is because they had a bigger enemy to fight.
Yeah, they all
That's
came
the
together.
only reason. But that's what I mean. Until it's, as much as I hate to say it, it does seem to be the reality that until aliens come down from space and say they're going to kill us all, we're not going to stick up from each other. Until the world sets on fucking fire because we've heated it up that much, we are not going to stick up for each other.
Yeah.
Until there is a bigger enemy than the human race, it is likely that at the rate we are going, we are not going to actually stick up for each other and hold each other dearly, because we don't have a bigger enemy, so we're going to keep on fighting within ourselves.
Bro.
The second that we evolved past the bears and the sharks and all the animals, the second that we could overpower any animal with our brains and our technologies, we made it so that the only enemy we have is each other. And like you said, it's in our DNA to have an enemy. But I think that even that, you can accept that fact and you can still act accordingly. The same way that you can know that you have free will, you can go out and fuck whoever you want to fuck, but it's still, and yeah, it's in our DNA to do that, it's in our DNA to go and fuck. You can still look at that, accept that, and choose not to do it. the same way that you can look at the idea of tribalism, you can understand it, you can understand why you hate a group of people, and you can still choose not to act upon it. Like, I think that there's so much shit going on that even when it comes to countries, people are constantly like, oh, should we look over there and see what they've got? Why don't you look inwards? Why don't you look at your own people? Why don't you see what your people have got? Why don't you see what your land has got? And just try to make your garden greener.
Mm.
That is the...
Instead of taking everyone else's
That is
fucking
the
gardens.
idea of accepting tribalism. Okay, we can all sit here and we can say we hate fucking America. We can all sit here and say we hate America. But if we don't act on it, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That is why, like, the actions that we have is what makes us who we are. As not the ideas. Because you are not your brain. You are the person witnessing your brain. Your brain thinks things due to the chemicals in your body. That is what your brain is made up of. But if you want to be a human, and if you want to live a life, and if you want to enjoy it, you need to accept the fact that every thought you have is not true. Like, everybody looks in the mirror and goes, oh my fucking god, I look like absolute shit. You look the exact same as what you did yesterday, bruv. You look the exact fucking same as what you did yesterday. Shut the fuck up. That's not true. It's purely a fact that that's not true. The same way that some days it's like, oh my god, this is the fucking best thing in the world. The world is the same world that it was 2 days ago when you were crying about it. Like, nothing has changed. So you are the person
Perspective.
that is, you are perspective. And if we all have the knowledge to look at our DNA and to understand, you know, we as a country, we hate Southampton because we support Portsmouth and their opposing football teams. You can look at that information and you can go, oh, isn't that funny? We just support a football team. Like, it's so fun. It's so fun to hate another group of people. It's fun because it's in our DNA. And we enjoy it because it gives us a sense of unity and it gives us something to fucking believe in, and oh my god, this is amazing. But you can look at that and you can accept it and you can feel it the same way that if you go to a football game, you get really fucking pissed off that Southampton win, and then you go and beat up 2 of the supporters. Then you go and beat up some kid's uncle wearing a fucking red t-shirt simply because his team won. Like, you can get the same amount of enjoyment without acting on the feeling. And, like, that's why I was just like, bruv, we can't sit here and say we're never going to grow. Because if we sit here and go, we're never going to grow because we're never going to get past our tribalism, we are accepting our DNA as fact, as if we've reached our max knowledge. We haven't reached our max knowledge. We've learned about it, but this is just another thing that we're aware of, but we're not choosing to act upon at the moment as a species.
It's like saying that our nature is our downfall. That's what that, using tribalism as an excuse, that is what that is saying. That our nature, what Mother Nature has developed, is our downfall. We are better than nature. We are better than... If it wasn't for nature, we would be so much better.
Yeah,
but it's like,
if it wasn't for our tribalism, everything would be so fucking perfect.
Yeah, but that is not true. It is simply how we are using it. It's just how we are using it. It's the same with anything. There is nothing that nature has developed and evolved and created that is not great. That is not perfect.
It's not perfect, yeah.
Like, everything is a perfect system in our world environment. Everything is perfect down to the human, like
the human body, yeah.
The emotions, the DNA that we have, our consciousness. There is nothing wrong on nature's behalf. We are nature still, and there is nothing bad. It is just how it is used and how it is perceived. How it is used and perceived. It's the same with anything. You look at your phone. You can either use it to learn insightful information and learn things that you normally wouldn't be able to learn about for free, apart from the cost of the phone. Or you can sit there all day and scroll on Instagram and get all depressed that you're looking at all these people living amazing lives and thinking you should be doing this and that and fucking you should be living here and I can't be living here.
Now you give yourself crippling anxiety because all you do is look at your phone.
That is simply the same with the tribalism. You can either support Portsmouth and hate Southampton with all your fucking guts, or you can think, right, we need to come together as a country and really think we need to do what's best for our tribe. And it's the same with everything. Everything is a tool. You have a knife, you can either chop up your carrots or you can stab yourself with it. Like, I'm sorry, but like that is our life. There is nothing bad anywhere. It is simply how you use it or how you perceive the fact. The same with the monogamy in our DNA. With having non-monogamous species, yes, some people will see that as a downfall because they'd be like, oh, I wouldn't want to scroll on Tinder all the time if I didn't have this natural urge inside of me, which is completely false. There is no downfall to that urge. That urge is completely necessary because if you didn't have that urge, no one would have babies. We would have died out ages ago if we didn't have that urge. So the purpose is there. The use for it is there. The greatness for it is there. The same as you need to sleep for a reason. Like you need to sleep in order to get to be awake the next day to be able to function. But it doesn't mean you should sleep all day.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you should fucking do like just sleep or same with eating. Like you need to eat to live, but you shouldn't fucking eat all the time. Like everything has its purpose. There is nothing in this world that is bad or that is pointless or shouldn't be there. Everything has been created for a reason, and it is simply down to how you use it or how you perceive it. And
like tribalism, it can equal in conflict, but it also results in like pride and like unity and fulfillment and this sense of togetherness that we need as a social species. And like you can accept tribalism and the same way that you can accept everything else, and we can all sit here and we can support different football teams and we can get really angry and we can shout at each other, but there's no need to take anything further than that. There's like, we are never at the point where our team loses so much we need to kill the other team. We as a country, we are never at the point where our people are struggling so much that we need to take from another country. We are simply not. We have the resources that we need. That's the reality. We have the resources that we need. And if we don't, we have also evolved to the point where we can choose to accept another tribe, accept that they're better than us, accept that they've got stuff that we need, and we have the ability to ask them for it. We have the ability to ask them for it. We can sit there and we can say, please, can we have some of your wheat? We can't grow any wheat. We can't grow wheat here, and people here need wheat.
We'll give you this instead because we have a surplus of this, and we see you haven't got that.
And like, that's what I mean. And we have that ability. So tribalism is not unnecessary, but it is unnecessary to use that as an excuse. For killing and murdering and taking and just
for no good reason. Like it's like with fucking Indonesia, bruv, with them how America is exploiting there. If you just said to them like, look, you have loads of oil that we want, you have loads of minerals that we want, we would really like that. How about let's have a deal. We'll build you
loads of houses.
We'll build you bare fucking homes, bruv, if you can give us that oil. Yeah, right. Yeah, we can work with that.
We'll build you loads of houses. We will give you the clean running water, the heating, the
we will
solar
help you develop
panels.
as a society. We won't just exploit you. We won't just purely build houses so that people working for our mine can live there.
Whereas that's what they do at the moment. It's like, oh yeah, we'll build a mining town for you and then we'll give you all jobs. They'll give them all jobs with no pay. They'll feed
and
them
then export
enough.
all the mineral for a fraction of the price that they would buy from elsewhere.
They'll feed them enough so that they can live. It's like, don't use this. They use this falsify reality where it's like, oh, we'll give you like a tiny bit of something that we have just so that we can take more and more and more. It's just the most bizarrest thing. And like, that's what I mean. Like countries like America, bruv, you can afford it. Everyone can afford it. We can afford it.
But we're the exact same as them. We exploit other countries too, bro.
If we can afford to go and fucking bomb places and to literally kill people, we can 100% afford to make their lives better instead. But instead we choose not to because it's like, oh, you have something we want. Oh, I'm going to steal it now. Like, bruv, use your brain. We've been given it for a reason. And like, how do you sleep at night? Like, genuinely, how do you sleep at night? That's like, people will probably say that about us. People will probably sit there and be like, or you order from Amazon every day. Like, how the fuck do you sleep at night? They treat their workers horrible.
Yeah.
They fucking.
This whole thing of like Uber, bro.
They
When it's
feel
raining outside and you're like, it's raining outside. Let's order a fucking ethnic minority to deliver food to my front door. Do you know what I mean? Like, that is a fucking. That's nuts, mate. It's like, how can you sit there and eating that warm food knowing that someone is.
Someone's giving that food to you so that they can eat.
Yeah, they are literally
Well, I
transporting
guess
your
that
food.
is just every job at this point.
Yeah, but it's just. Yeah.
I just
But,
think there's so
yeah,
many ways
it's-
that we can work together. Don't use your DNA as an excuse, guys.
Just learn from it.
Use it as a resource. Use
Yeah.
your DNA as a resource.
As
to
an
be
education
better.
to understand why you feel these ways and let you understand your body's urges to do whatever that may be. Not to seek it as an excuse like, oh, I'm going to do this because of this. It's to, my body wants me to do this. Why is that? Oh, because I naturally have an urge to do that. Okay. But does this benefit fucking society? Am I, using people to satisfy this urge? Am I actually using this urge correctly, or am I just exploiting whatever I can to get to the instant gratification area of that urge? Yeah, I think that's
Next
kind of.
time somebody says it's natural, tell them to shut the fuck up, because you got free will and you're smart enough to know better.
Yeah.
And next time somebody says to you, oh, you're being so stupid, you can say, well, actually, this is happening for a reason. But you can also sit there and go, I'm going to fucking work on it. I'm going to be better.
In order to be good to other people and to benefit society, you also have to be good to yourself. So yes, you should listen. Probably 7 times out of 10, you should listen rather than be listened to. But 3 times out of 10 or 4 times out of 10, you should be listened to. And that means you shouldn't be afraid to voice your opinions, to say how you feel, and to possibly try and correct people because you believe that your insight on the matter is more beneficial to them than their own. And you have to not be afraid to say these things, or else we will simply never grow as a society if we just keep all our opinions to ourselves and not share with anyone your insight. Because at the end of the day, sharing your insight is more important than sharing money or sharing anything else, what that may be. Insight is the most important thing.
Yeah.
Well,
your DNA is part of you, and accept it, learn from it, grow with it. We're chilling, bro.
Well, that was DNA.
Over and out, guys.
Goodbye.